Just a couple of days ago, we saw and received a brand new trailer from The Outer Worlds. They recently did attend PAX West, and included with their panel, they dropped a pretty awesome new trailer, definitely in a similar comedic theme while also being fairly descriptive, showing off aspects of the world itself, and it's something to get excited for. I feel like The Outer Worlds over the past few weeks following the massive gameplay drops has kind of been running under the radar. Things have been quiet around the game, people have been taking in that gameplay, but now just kind of waiting. But that waiting has paid off, as we literally have under 2 months until this game releases, which is actually kind of crazy. Like, how did it already become September? Either way, in this video, what I'm going to be doing is actually breaking down this brand new trailer. I wouldn't say there's a ton to unpack from it, but there's a lot of interesting things you can pick out, and it does reveal quite a bit around the game. Even though we just got a ton of new gameplay, it showed one specific aspect of The Outer Worlds, while this trailer is revealing parts of some of the other aspects. If you guys enjoy the content or just want to see more coverage of The Outer Worlds, you can leave a like or subscribe. With that being said, let's take a deep dive on this new trailer.
Do you dream of working on the frontier of space?
So one of the first things to stand out to me is this is seemingly going to be our ship. We've heard quite a bit about this. It's going to act as a hub for our companions, but also act as a point of travel between some of the planets and other outer world destinations like asteroids. It actually has a pretty cool design. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think it looks actually like a pretty nice ship.
Are you searching for exciting?
This is the little interior command cell that we've seen in the past. We know on the right that's going to be the main computer of the ship. This is almost an NPC in and of itself. It's actually quite interactive, but still being a computer. But this view right here is just awesome. And I'm actually pretty curious around how much time do we actually get to spend here? How many different environments could we see in the background just as we are in space floating around? Is it just going to be this asteroid belt kind of cycling over and over again, or could you see planets, other ships potentially?
Off-world opportunities.
But similar to that cycling in the background on the ship, on the planet, the atmosphere and just the all-around visual environment looks pretty awesome. We know you're going to be able to see some of these planets just by looking up. Obviously, they're pretty close to you. You can only go to one of the other planets. You can't go to all of those, but it just looks like a really nice backdrop to experience this game. We also can pretty clearly see a volcano in the background. With something so prominent and just right there, you have to imagine this will actually play a role in the story itself or act as some kind of plot point, but it definitely is interesting, and it looks like an environment I'm actually pretty excited to explore.
Can you pass a basic aptitude test? Then come to Halcyon, where prosperity awaits you in the stars. Owned and operated by Earth's most distinguished corporations, Halcyon's colonists are guaranteed full employment. Enjoy a productive life in one of our many employment communities.
Then we get a look at Edgewater, which we know is going to be one of the first towns we get a look at, but also one of the major towns in this game. The first thing that stands out to me is this just looks awesome. Maybe that's just me. I mean, I actually did get to play this game a couple of months ago now. I made a full video on that if you guys want to check it out. Private Division did fly me out for the experience. And although what I saw was cool, that was almost all taking place on the non-terraform planet, aka not this one. There wasn't nearly as many towns, and certainly nothing quite as large or cool looking as this one. Considering this looks like it is in-game footage, this gets me really excited. And some of the modern Fallouts, which obviously people draw comparisons to, we just don't get to see towns like this. But it seemingly will be a component of The Outer Worlds.
Communities across Terra too.
Which, speaking of, one of the other components we could actually see of The Outer Worlds here, you can see at the entrance of this building a bunch of dead guards. This is an option you'll have. Not all of the buildings will just let you in, so you could either shoot your way through or alternatively use speech checks, disguises, or earn your way in. I just thought it was a cool little detail that some people probably missed.
You'll have access to every modern amenity, from gourmet dining to guaranteed housing and company-approved social clubs.
I thought this part gave us a pretty cool look at some of those outfits of The Outer Worlds, the differences between the armors, what looks almost like a hazmat suit, but then just the typical clothing. This game actually differentiates between all of that. We'll have heavy armors, light armors, but also what seems like just typical clothing, and it seems like, at least based off my limited experience while playing this game, that clothing almost provided more benefits but less protection, and armor did the opposite.
You never know what you'll find on Terra 2. Hungry for adventure? Apply for a post on Monarch instead. gently terraformed and pristine.
But then of course we can see the other side of things, a broken down or more desolate and destroyed city. That's one of the big parts of this game. People making it seem like everything is fine or almost lying to themselves that it is, while in reality things are falling apart and just not going all that well.
Monarch is an alien world just waiting to be tamed. Enjoy the outdoors. Hunt local wildlife.
I found this part to just be really interesting in general. I'm not totally sure what's going on. Initially I thought that might be like one of the effects this weapon causes, but in reality I think it might just be a weird video effect they threw in for the overall experience of viewing. Something kind of interesting though, in the background you of course hear those screams, like the character is in a panic. I wonder if after developing some phobias you actually do have in-game screams because you're scared of whatever that thing is. I think that'd be a really cool minor addition that really sold the fact that your character developed a phobia and the pros and cons of that.
And bring civilization to wild places.
This looks like some kind of weird, crazy, mutated squirrel thing that I don't believe we've ever seen before. These look terrifying, and also, due to their small size, like they'll be really frustrating to handle in game.
Some restrictions apply. Monarch is currently undergoing renovation. See your local board representative for details.
So this is a weapon that I'm not sure if we've seen before, but I definitely don't think we've seen it with this paint job or skin before. It actually looks really cool, almost musket-esque, and overall I'm just loving the weapon design. I'll point out a few more examples throughout the rest of this video, but there's definitely some cool aesthetics there.
Yes, a colony has a place for everyone.
Here we see what is probably my favorite shot of the entire trailer, this seemingly taking place in one of the towns, but you just see that heavy corporate culture, all the advertisements and corporatism that is around. It's something that's very apparent through my playthrough of this game, and clearly in this particular town you see it in a very heavy-handed fashion.
Are you a brilliant scientist?
We see here what looks like an absolutely crazy science weapon. It looks crazy in the player's hands, but also in action, it kind of has this weird, almost bubble effect. Like it'll make enemies float up and away by hitting them with a bunch of bubbles.
Or do you prefer working with your hands?
This part was pretty interesting to me. We see as we hit this enemy, he kind of just fades away into all of those particles, but the weapon we're using here is a familiar one. We've seen it in past gameplays. We know that there's going to be different forms of damage in this game, and also, seemingly, as you take down enemies with those different forms of damage, different effects are applied. With this purple damage type, it'll lead to this, but as we've seen in the past, with a red damage type, it's totally different, and even a green one in a separate segment.
Have you been rejected from every other colonist program?
What the fuck?
Not to worry. Halcyon accepts the lowest aptitude scores of any Earth Directorate colony.
Throughout these next few segments, we get more looks at some of the weapons, and I just wanted to comment on how cool I think the weapon design in this game is. You have some more of the traditional, like we see with some of the heavy machine guns here, but also just weird and outlandish, very different and futuristic looking. I mean, this thing basically looks like a water gun. These new kind of bat-esque enemies are actually something totally new that I don't think we've seen ever before. I never saw it while playing in-game. They look pretty awesome, but even further, just the background, the environment you're in during this segment also looks kind of crazy and wild. I'm not sure where this is taking place, but you could really see how much of a role the sky is going to play in just changing the all-around feel of the game. Compare this scene to this one, it's really different and actually I think really cool. Not too many games really take advantage of that aspect, typically just having kind of a blue sky or a red sky or a cloudy sky if it's raining.
Practice your social skills.
Thank you for considering me for your ship crew and/or outlaw gang.
Injured on the job? Don't worry. Our board-certified insurance program covers a wide range of conditions, like robophobia, permanent concussions, and fear of heights. The board cares about your security. That's why all of Halcyon's...
During this segment, we get a look at a lot of these various weapons and just how cool some of them are. Some of them are basic, just kind of being a sharp blade or a hammer that probably hits pretty hard. But then whatever this thing is, I just think looks awesome. Similar to that blade I showed you guys earlier, I wouldn't be shocked if this also has different energy types, changing the actual visuals of this one. And I just think that's a really cool game design and will give you a lot of variety with these weapons.
We've got pointy weapons, smashy weapons, brainy weapons.
Kill them!
Here we finally see the shrink ray in action, which I don't believe we've actually seen before. We've seen pictures of it, but nothing like this where you could actually just see it shrinking an enemy. That is really cool. We also know it'll make enemies' voices higher pitched as they are shrunk down.
And shooty weapons.
These almost monkey or gorilla looking creatures are also pretty cool. You can see one in the background getting ready to throw a rock at you, which is just a nice little addition.
From Spacer's Choice to Hammersmith.
What's happening during that segment is they're displaying the difference in between some of the different weapon brands. We know Spacer's Choice is going to be the cheap and very available option as far as weapons go. Alternatively, Hammersmith appears to be the high-end choice, something that probably doesn't break that often, but probably has a much higher cost associated with it. To go along with it, one of the cool aspects of that is you could clearly see visual changes depending on which brand makes a weapon, and I think that'll be something that's cool if it has continuity throughout the entire game. Let's say you're fighting an enemy and can immediately identify, uh-oh, that is a Hammersmith weapon, so I have to be a little bit more careful as it might be a bit more powerful compared to a Spacer's Choice alternative.
Your local grocer carries it all. Ammo sold separately. Come join our corporate family. You won't find a warmer,
Well, let me apologize in advance. I'm about to ruin your day.
friendlier, or harder working community of employees anywhere in the universe. So don't wait. Sign those indenturement contracts and get on board the next ship.
This scene looks like it's taking place on one of the alternate planets. We know apparently there's going to be an asteroid with a prison on it, and I'm guessing that's what we see here, but also, as I mentioned, the sky having such an interesting kind of asteroid field just floating right there. It almost looks like there's some kind of force field or something going on in the background, but this is cool. This looks like a place I want to explore and find all the details of, and hopefully, or seemingly, we will get to. All in all, I actually thought that was a really good trailer. It showed off some of the other aspects of the game, some of the things we haven't seen too much about, such as the weapons, the weapon brands. We could even see in that final shot another Hammersmith weapon that is clearly displayed and looks pretty premium. I'm really excited for the Outer Worlds. The wait isn't really that much longer anymore. I definitely will be playing it on release and producing a ton of content around it, including live streams. So if you do want to subscribe and get excited for that, you can. Otherwise, as always, again, I thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. But with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.